XRP just had a week that shows you exactly how institutional adoption actually develops. This wasn't a price-driven hype cycle, it was a structural shift underneath the surface. And once you see the signals, the entire picture becomes a lot clearer. Today, we're breaking down XRP's last 7 days. ETF inflows surged, while Bitcoin ETFs bled. Ripple expanded its Wall Street footprint. A major settlement test proved real-world utility. And regulators moved closer to giving XRP the clarity institutions have been waiting for. This week showed you where the momentum is building and why it matters. XRP's market structure strengthened in ways most people missed. ETF products saw over $23 million in net inflows, even as Bitcoin ETFs lost more than $1 billion. That's not retail speculation. That's definite hard institutional rotation. At the same time, active traders dropped sharply, which usually signals consolidation. This is where the real story starts. Ripple filed new trademarks covering treasury operations, prime brokerage, and securities lending. The kind of infrastructure Wall Street firms rely on every single day. And this came right after a $500 million funding round that valued Ripple near $40 billion. Institutions don't care about narratives, they care about rails, liquidity, and settlement. And Ripple is quietly building the rails they need. Institutions made moves that matter. JP Morgan, MasterCard, and Ripple completed a 5-second settlement test using tokenized U.S. Treasuries with the XRP ledger acting as the payment layer. Treasuries are the backbone of global finance, so if you can settle treasuries in seconds, you can settle anything. And that's the strongest utility signal as XRP has had all year. On the tech side, the XRP didn't explode upward, but it did strengthen. The next move depends on 3 things: how ETF inflows behave as macro conditions shift, how quickly institutions adopt the tokenized settlement after the Treasury test, and whether the Clarity Act passes a Senate vote in June. If regulatory clarity lands and institutional settlement expands, XRP's fundamentals look very different from its short-term price. If not, well, the market consolidates until the next wave of flows hits. Either way, this week gave you a clear read on what matters next. If you want a clean framework for reading weeks like this without getting lost in all the noise, well, that's exactly why I wrote Understanding Crypto, a clear guide for new investors. It breaks down how flows, structure, and sentiment fit together, so weeks like this stop feeling random. Of course, I'll put a link in the description. And if this helped you see XRP's week more clearly, like the video and drop a comment telling me which part of the story stood out to you the most. Was it the ETF inflows, the settlement test, the regulatory shift, or Ripple's Wall Street expansion? Your take definitely helps shape what I cover next, so please share this with someone who's trying to understand where real adoption is happening. Most people only see the price. You're seeing the infrastructure put together. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next breakdown. Stay locked.